I decided I needed to get to the bottom of understanding how technology and my kids were interacting.
Unfortunately, a lot of parents are saying just do whatever you want.
50% of kids feel they're addicted to their social media.
Yeah, if you're a kid with a smartphone, you could look up anything you want.
It's a free-for-all. You can look at pornography. There's constant reinforcement, pings, tings, new friends.
I got to create my life the way I want it to be seen. It wasn't my true reality.
My daughter has tons of Instagram friends, but she has no friends.
They're more like strangers that have been identified.
They call it like fatty. You're just so dumb. The words they start giving you is the words you believe.
That becomes their life, their social media world. But that world can be quickly upended.
I had a gun at my head.
I'm very pleased to welcome actor, producer, Christian activist, and advocate Kirk Cameron. Kirk, the success of your films, Monumental and Revive Us, demonstrates a deep cultural hunger for more faith and family-based programming. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. It's so good to be talking with you and so appreciate the work that you're doing. So this is an excellent divine appointment in my opinion this morning.
Thank you. And your latest project takes on an eye-opening look at the dangerous impact of social media on our kids. It's called Connect, Real Help for Parenting Kids in a Social Media World. And it can be viewed in theaters nationwide on February 27th and March 1st. How did you come to tackle such an important and under-considered issue?
Well, it's getting a lot of attention in the news right now. If you turn on your computer and you start Googling social media, you'll find out that the founding president of Facebook, along with Apple shareholders and Google designers, are all talking about the impact that social media and technology, and too much of it, is having on our kids and the development of their brain. Now, let me back up for just a minute and say, how cool is it that we get to talk on Skype right now? We're using the very technology that we're talking about. We're using social media platforms to let people know that we have some important things to discuss. And so my wife and I are pro-technology, but like anything that's powerful, whether it's a gun or it's an automobile or a laser or Facebook, we have to learn how to use it responsibly, because that kind of power combined with unhealthy habits can cause a lot of damage. And so this movie really was birthed out of my wife and I getting our kids smartphones and wanting to teach them how to use it. And when we started doing that, we started realizing all of the pitfalls that parents can fall into with their kids. And we really are a guinea pig generation. We're the pioneer parents who are figuring this out for the very first time. So when you see your kids spending too much time on their phone or their device, or you're wondering why they feel so entitled, why they appear so narcissistic, and why kids are experiencing anger, anxiety, depression, and you're concerned about the ability to view content that was never before possible for an 8-year-old to see unless you had a really rotten friend of a big brother or an uncle who would bring something to your house in secret. Now it's in reach at the tip of their fingers with a device that looks like this. So my wife and I feel the same burden that millions of parents feel, and that is, how do I help my kids navigate through this social media digital world in a way that they become champions with technology rather than victims of technology? That's what Connect is all about.
I really love what you said there about pioneer parents. We have this tendency to think that parenting is an accomplished art. We've been doing it for thousands of years, and so we should know all about it. But this is a huge challenge for us. And we know that everything the Lord makes, and this is where Christianity and our Christian values, I really think can help moms, because it is a hallmark of Christianity that everything the Lord made, including the internet, including technology, all that stuff is good. But like every other good thing God made, if you don't use it right, it becomes a really grave danger. And Christianity and Christian balance, I think, can really help parents to get a handle on what the positive and the negative impact is. And speaking of which, can you share either with your, an anecdote with us, either with your own kids' use of cell phones or in the movie? The trailer is just eye-opening and shocking. Share with us a couple of examples of how this technology, social media, can be used to really negatively impact our kids.
So if we want to talk about a couple of the negative impacts, I think it's actually so obvious that if anyone watching this has parents, I probably don't even need to detail it for you, right? Are you concerned about how much time your kids are spending looking at a screen? Are you concerned about the people that they're talking to that you probably don't even know and what they're saying and how they're shaping your child's worldview? Are you concerned about the kind of content that they may be viewing either on their phone or on a friend's phone at school? So we share these things, and my wife and I do too. We have 6 kids. We decided we wanted to not be damage control parents. We wanted to get off the defense, get on the offense, and get educated with all of the new and emerging technology. We want to understand how it works and then be empowered to stay connected with our children and guide them to navigate through these social media and technology waters so that they can develop the healthy habits that they need as adults to go into the world out from under our parental protection when they themselves are adults and be able to raise their family and function and be successful. You know, nobody wants to fail at family. I know you don't, I don't. We have one shot at raising our kids. And so we want to do the very best that we can. And our efforts will help the next generation because, like we said, we're figuring this out as we go. No one's ever done this before. You and I can't ask our parents, how did you handle it when I had a cell phone as a kid? We didn't. They didn't handle it. We're figuring this out right now.
One of the grave dangers, it seems to me, is that the promise of certain social media is unconditional, uncritical acceptance. One more follower, one more ping, one more approving thumbs up. The problem with that is, as we know, that parenthood is not just about being your kid's friend and supporter. Sometimes it's about being critical or offering your kids alternatives or holding your kids accountable for things that they say and do. It's not about being friends all the time. And in some ways, you can see why the pull of social media is so much away from parents, because the hard part of parenting, the discipline, the responsibility, trying to educate kids even when they struggle a little bit against the values we're trying to give them, they get they seem to get this unconditionality from the phone. How do you in the movie suggest we balance that out? What can we do in the home to balance out what they're seeing on their screens?
In a nutshell, be a parent. Don't try to be your kid's pal. A parent is infinitely more important and meaningful than being a buddy that your kid likes. And that by no means is to say that we don't want our kids to love us, to respect us, and to like us, and for us to have fun and to enjoy our kids. Of course we do. I think you brought up a really good point. Kids get on the internet, they can receive unconditional acceptance, and yet they know intuitively that that kind of acceptance and approval is very shallow, and it can change on a dime. It can be upended instantly. And the kind of disapproval that kids and adults receive on the internet through social media networks can be catastrophic. So, for instance, the idea of bullying, the idea of peer pressure and criticism. It's one thing when we were kids to go to school and someone said you're dumb or you're stupid or you're fat or you're ugly or whatever, and a couple of kids might laugh at you and you go home and you're able to talk to your mom or your dad who can give you a better perspective and has wisdom on these subjects. And you know, you go through the school of hard knocks and you learn to deal with these things. But what happens when someone says those things on social media and 500 or 1,000 or 10,000 of your friends start cracking jokes and pick up on this kind of peer pressure and herd mentality? It can be devastating to kids. So what is most important, I think, and this is the message of Connect, is parents, be fully engaged parents, present and connected with your children, and lead by example. They desperately need what you have, wisdom. Have FaceTime, real face-to-face time with your kids. Help them to see the value and the superiority of real world friendships, relationships. Let them see that between you and your spouse, you and your kids. Take time to be with them, listen to them, impart your love and wisdom to them. And when they make mistakes, let them know that you make mistakes too. We're learning together. I'm for you, I'm with you, and there's nothing that you could ever do to make me not love you. And we're gonna get through this social media stuff, this digital stuff, and we're gonna use it for good, not for bad.
Kirk, on behalf of our families and our followers, I really want to thank you for your commitment to produce and distribute values-based media and entertainment. Yours is a rare and much-needed voice in our increasingly unmoored culture. Thank you so much today for joining us. Best of luck with your film. We will be watching.
Oh, brother, God bless you. Thank you. I so appreciate the work that you're doing, and it's an honor and a privilege to be brother in arms with you.
We love having you here, and Mom and Dad America, you can catch Kirk's important film, Connect, Real Help for Parenting Kids in a Social Media World, in theaters nationwide on February 27th and March 1st. Let's fill these theaters and send a message that the heart of America still beats strong for our kids' welfare. Visit connectmovie.com for great resources and tickets.
The Lord Jesus on the door. Nobody gets to the sheep except through me.
It's never too late.
There's never been a generation like it. We're blazing a new trail. We are the pioneer parents.